Welcome in part 2 of this Musings from the Mind of tutorial, where we're going to look at taking this pixelated text and do some transforms with it and try to make some cool animations. If you have not done part 1, it is in the link. If you have done part 1, it's in the comments. If you have done part 1, the one thing you'll notice that is different is I just used 2 colors for speed in the first tutorial, but since then I have added a different color on each letter, and all I had to do was assign those letters in edit mode, add the material, and then add the materials here in our nested set material group. So what we're going to look at today is how we can move these objects around to get some cool animation. So what I'm going to do is Shift A, and I'm going to look for translate instances. I am going to drop that guy right here. And what we can do right off the bat, now that it's in here in our geometry, we can kind of move our text left and right. We can move it front and back. We can move it up and down. But if we want to have a little more fun with that, what we can do is Shift, Search, and we're going to add a random value. And we're going to drop that random value onto the translation there. And then you'll notice if we play with, let's make that a vector. We're going to have to connect it again. As we play with that, like if we go left and right, it kind of stretches out into lines. Same thing, we can do that up and down, and we get some cool effects, and we can also do it on the y-axis. So what I would like to do is let's grab our group input here, and we're going to grab the min value. We're going to drop it in there. We're going to grab the max value, and we're going to drop it in there. And then we're going to jump over here and look at our geometry nodes. Look at our, did I connect that to ID? I did. Let me connect that over to max, and let me just jump over here and update this to be max. All right, so I'm actually going to have to delete that because it thinks it's the wrong thing. Let's grab max, put it over here. Okay, so now what we can do is if we give ourselves a timeline right here, and we'll just go to 0. And on the 0 timeline, I am going to, let's see, we'll just do it on the X first. We'll do like a -20. And on max, we'll do a +20. Put these other 2 values to 0. And we're going to keyframe jump over here to 100. And let's set this to 0. And let's set this to 0, which will get it back to where it's supposed to be. And we'll make this 120. And then when we hit play, we get this kind of cool lines becoming our pixelated text. If we want to kind of step that up a little bit, we can change all the values here to -20 and all the values on max to 20. We're going to keyframe both those guys, I and I. I don't have to change the other keyframes because they were already 0. And now we kind of get this disintegrated into reintegrated effect. And then what we can do is that if that's the effect we want, we can start stacking other effects on top of that. So let's make some room over here, and I am going to zoom in a little bit here. And so you see on our instances on points, we can change the rotation of these boxes to add just a little bit of effect. But going to make this easy on ourselves, we're going to do another random. I'm going to bring this guy over here. I hate when these guys try to think for me. Just kind of running out of real estate here. And let's drop you back down there. Okay. We're going to drop this value into rotation. And we're going to create 2 more group input nodes. And so we don't get confused, we're going to name this one min rotation, and we'll name this one max rotation. And we can go back to our keyframe 0. And we're going to set this guy to -10. We'll set this guy to +10. We'll keyframe both of those. And then we'll jump over here to 100. And we're going to go to our resting mode of 0 and add a keyframe there. All right. And so now, as our disintegration is coming, we see our letters are rotating to add a little bit more of chaos. And then if we want to add completely to the chaos, we can do one last random value here. We'll copy this guy, and we'll go ahead and drop into our group inputs. And we're going to rename these guys. We're going to name these guys min scale and max scale. And so at 0, we're going to say that our minimum scale is, our minimum and maximum scale is going to be 0. Do I here, do I here, and we're going to jump this guy up into scale, which will make it disappear. I need to remind myself what volume I had at 0.02. Okay, so then I'm going to jump over here to 100, and I'm going to set both my max and minimum value to 0.02 and 0.02. And now we have, oh, I forgot to keyframe that. 0.02, keyframe, 0.02, keyframe, and now we can watch as our text comes into view. And so you can play with the scale, the rotation, and the translate instance, which will be, well, the translate instance will be your location, then your scale and your rotation will be on the instance on points. And you can come up with some pretty cool animations that way. I hope you'll play with this. If you make something really cool, please share it in the comments, a link to where you upload it on YouTube. Please hit like and subscribe. I hope this was helpful. Until the next time,